We have to do a thumbnail first.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just gonna be like, no, like,
Oh.
look excited.
Oh. I didn't look at her questions beforehand, even though I wanted to.
She thought about it.
Then it made me anxious to look at the notes on her. She's fixing my hair, look at her.
No, it's not your hair, it's your hat.
Oh, my hat has schmutz on it.
There's a little schmoot.
Little schmutz.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Chatting With. I know it's been a minute since I did one of these, but that's just because everyone who I want to talk to is extremely busy and it takes a long time to schedule stuff. But I was able to get a hold of one of my favorite people, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Jessie.
Hey guys.
So Jessie is someone who has taken a lot of photos for my blog before, and her career expands far beyond Keep Calm and Chiffon, which we will get into in today's video, but I wanted to bring her on to share her expertise as a photographer and a creative storyteller in other formats as well. So thanks for being here, Jessie.
Thanks for having me.
Oh my god. I have some questions that I'm gonna dive into with you, but why don't we first tell everyone how we know each other?
Oh, how do we know each other? Dirty Pros.
Dirty Pros.
Or our freshman dorm room is.
Yeah, so we went to college together when I was a freshman at Muhlenberg. So we actually lived on the same floor in the same dorm. We became pretty close our first year, and then even though I transferred schools, we like always stayed in touch.
Traitor.
And it turns out there's not a lot to do in like suburban Pennsylvania after a year, so I was kind of over it.
I don't disagree.
I should insert like some photos of like freshman year blog shoots that we did together because I think it would be interesting for people to see just like where we started from and like where we are now.
You should insert the hair straightening video.
Oh my god.
Hi, I'm Austen Tosone here, and I'm going to show you how to straighten your hair. First, you're going to need a straightening iron. It should probably be in the on position. My colleague over here, Miss Alcheh, will be helping me with this process.
Oh, really?
Yes, she will. Please. The first thing, this is Jessie, by the way. These footsteps must be Jessie. Hey, you did it.
I don't know which one it is.
Good, good. We're going to start with the Heat Tamer spray by Tresemme. And what we're going to do is spray Jessie in the face. Just kidding. I think this is going to be a parody video.
If I still have that, that's going in there. Why don't you tell everyone also like what you studied at Muhlenberg?
So I studied art and media and communications, but I didn't start photography till my second semester of freshman year. So I was doing a lot of drawing, a lot of painting, the art.
Like multimedia, like
yeah, like
lots of different.
Like all like the traditional art forms. Like I love Salvador Dali, and I just want to be him, except for every craziness.
Except for all of his issues.
Except for maybe his waxed mustache. I don't know if I'd look good with it. Maybe not.
Since you were like more on the visual arts side when you first got to college, like what's your earliest, I mean it might be way earlier than college, but what's like your earliest memory of being really interested in photography?
Being interested in photography? I'm trying to think, because I mean I've always wanted to try it out. When I was like a kid, I saw people with cameras. I saw my mom around the family with like just digital camera just snapping away. She was awful, but love you, Mom. But she has other fine qualities. But anyway, I just saw like people having the urge to take out the camera to just snap a memory or a moment, and I thought that was always interesting, just like growing up with people just being snap happy and trying to build a narrative and build a story in that way.
Yeah.
And obviously I want to do it more professionally than, you know, just snapping pics of a fam, but
right.
still.
Well, you do though.
Yeah.
So then why don't you tell us like what you were first doing when you got out of college, like your first job, and then how you transitioned to like Hollywood life too.
Oh man, okay.
You don't have to go like into so much detail, just give us an overview.
My first job was interesting. I worked in advertising, and I will say that I learned a lot. I did. I really did. I met some great people. I'm still friends with a lot of those people.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I wanted to be doing. It wasn't really for me. I felt like I was schmoozing a lot. good values though, learning how to schmooze, because that helps now.
It really does. But then you switched to the other side. Then you were like working on the publication side.
Yeah, and now I've been working with Hollywood Life, which is also interesting, but not exactly the type of content I love, like Kim Kardashian's things.
She can't even like tell you like a specific thing. It's just like the Kardashians.
Yeah, not my favorite cup of tea, but you know, they're doing things.
Well, so like, what's your day-to-day responsibilities as like a photo editor? Because I think there's a lot of misconceptions probably about what like a photo editor actually does all day.
Yeah, so like I'm not like a retoucher. Like I'm not, you know, enlarging body parts or, you know, lengthening anything, doing anything immoral to that nature, but I'm just like selecting photos and brightening them, sharpening them, and I'm also like suggesting what would go with what headline, what story, and what would just add to the stories that the writers are writing.
Yeah.
And building galleries, and also sometimes I take over their Instagram, which is fun.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's stuff that I enjoyed about it. I learned a lot, and I also just transitioned from one field completely to the next field.
Yeah.
Without really having any experience, and somehow it worked, and here I am.
I know. So we're gonna get into this a little later too, but as of like the time we're filming this video, Jessie has quit her job at Hollywood Life, and she is going like full-time freelance, going full-time out there into the world. But one of the things that I think made you comfortable with doing that is your position with MLB and then NHL.
Yeah.
So can you tell everyone a little bit about that?
Yeah, that was interesting. So it was like one day I was just in a cafe and I was like, you know, I'm not particularly thrilled with my job right now, so I'm just gonna look around, I'm gonna browse lightly on Indeed, and I chanced upon a job with MLB. It was a live content creator position. I really didn't know what it was, and I was just like, why not?
Yeah.
And I applied, and then the next day, I got an email being like, hey, like, we're interested in interviewing you, and I'm like, no way. And like, for the Yankees, and I'm like, okay. That's not real.
But it was real.
But it was real. And I'm working for them now, and I'm just like, this is really cool. I go to the home games, I photograph, I do some light video work, and kind of paint the picture around Yankee games. Both the action and the fan content and just the overall story of the game. It's pretty darn cool.
And have you gotten to travel at all for that job?
I have. I recently just went to Florida for spring training, and that was awesome. I had so much fun. I got some color on my face, some warmth.
Yes.
And I got to be around the Yankees and photographing still, and you know, it's just cool having a camera in the hand and, you know, being responsible for things.
Yeah,
Fun.
and she gets to go to every Yankees game.
I do.
Yeah, I feel like that's one thing like I've talked about a lot as a freelancer too, like finding those kind of consistent clients or like recurring job. Even though you've given up your salary income, you still do have consistent money coming in.
Right.
So you don't feel like you're just so out in the open trying to grab like one-off projects to make things happen. It's nice to have a little bit of consistency once you are a freelance, for sure.
Yeah.
So then sports photography is obviously something I would consider one of your niches, and then you've gotten just so much more into fashion photography, which I would like to fully take credit for.
I mean, yeah, definitely. It is I didn't even know what chiffon was until I started doing stuff for you.
Oh my god.
It's a material.
Why don't you like start off with some of our early shoots and then how you've like expanded to work with like other bloggers and stuff and people in the fashion world since then?
Yeah, I think the most memorable, well, not the most memorable, it's just the one where like I made you do something ridiculous, which is often, but it was you laying in the leaves.
Oh yeah.
That was great.
I'll insert that so you guys can check that one out. Mira was with us, right?
Yeah, Mira. Shout out.
Mira.
Hey.
Hi, Mira.
Miss you. Sincerely. But yeah, you were laying in the leaves and you're like, I don't want to do this. You had to climb a tree at one point.
Well, because to me at the time, like taking a blog photo was very much just like being in the street and standing and posing. Like I think a lot of people have changed the game of that, and I think I've definitely changed what I'm comfortable with as far as like photos that I post, even because I'll try different poses, I'll try like more movement, or I'll try like a different angle that's not just like a straight on outfit photo, which I like doing those too, but I feel like there's so much more variety, and like obviously you're someone who like is very good at seeing something random, like a weird angle, and being like, can we just try that? And then you take the photo, and I'm like, oh, I never would have even thought to do that, and it came out awesome anyway.
Yeah, it's fun to play around. I particularly love laying on the ground and taking photos of her.
Oh, definitely.
It's weird.
Okay, now she has to get out.
I'm inchworming. Am I out of the loop?
Nope, you are in the loop still.
I'm glad I'm in the loop sometimes. Not right now.
And then what was your experience like this past fashion week? Like, I know we obviously did a shoot together, but you also worked with a bunch of other people too.
Yeah, I mean, it was fun. Just, I felt really, like, busy and needed. I went from one to the next, and it was just, like, it's hectic, but it was freezing too.
Oh my god, yeah.
Absolutely frigid. But we got through it, and we got some decent photos, and everyone was, like, super hype about just fashion week in general. It's just a fun week.
Yeah, definitely.
Crazy week for you guys.
Oh, I know. But that's something now, like, especially that you are full-time too. Like, you can even just take on more work next year when fashion week comes around too.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like that
definitely a benefit. So then, like, what, could you tell us, first of all, what camera you use, and then also, like, what your general creative process is when you're doing a shoot, whether it's, like, a person, product, landscape, like, are they different, are they the same?
Yeah. Right now I have a Canon 60D, but I'm looking for something else eventually because, you know, it's fine, but it could be better. My process is kind of interesting, especially when working with, like, people. I don't like to direct too much. I don't like people looking too posed because I'm just like, put your arm like this and your hand like that and your, like, face like this. Like, it's just like, I'll, like, direct you a little bit, like, move to the side a little bit this, but, like, I kind of want you to appear more natural so that it doesn't look like you're stiff and you're just, you know, rigid.
Right.
So that's sort of my process with that, and then I just go about, like, taking as many photos as possible to get at least a bunch that are quality within that batch of just, like, many photos. And then, you know, I take the photos and then I'll do the post-production work.
And, like, what do you look for when you're editing photos too?
I look at light. I look at, you know, just, like, there's sometimes, like, distracting things in the background, like,
especially anywhere in New York.
Like, anyway, it's really tough. Anywhere in New York, there's always, like, horizontal lines, like, going through people's heads, and you're just like, that just looks like you're Frankenstein, and you're doing some weird stuff. So I look for that. I'm like, okay, nix that. But I also look for that when I'm shooting, but sometimes you miss it because you're looking at so many things. I try not to, like, mess with the colors super too much, and I don't do anything crazy. Definitely don't touch anyone's body. That's a big no-no for me.
You would never do that to someone. Since we're talking about, like, framing and, like, composition and what you look for in a photo now, I do want to, like, tie in a bit of, like, how social media influences, if at all, how you take photos, because we've occasionally shot photos together that I'm obsessed with, and then we go to post them on Instagram and the crop is, like, just off, and you're like, oh, do I, like, crop it differently, or do I try to do this? And so how, if any, in any way, has, like, social media impacted the way that you take photos or share photos?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I leave a lot of space at, like, the top or the bottom, just so that if we have to crop anything, it's not the body, it doesn't touch the body, and, like, we can get the whole, you know, essence of the photo and not, like, parts of the photo. It really sucks when that happens.
Yeah.
So we've learned our lesson. Instagram has to change their rules. Oh, I follow so many photographers, get so much inspiration from people that are just killing it in life. Like, there are so many talented people out there. And that's not even just me being like, oh, I'm unworthy. No, like, there's so many talented people out there, and it's great taking inspiration about how they do this kind of deal.
Well, while we're on this subject, like, can you name a couple of photographers who have been an inspiration to you, or, like, artists in general too? I know you mentioned Dolly already.
Yeah, I mean, I worked with this photographer. I will always look up to him. His name's Ed Cashy. He's a contributing photographer for Nat Geo.
Oh, that's, like, your dream job.
Dude travels the world. He is just a beautiful person. Like, he writes books about, like, basically he compiled emails, letters to his wife when he was away in, like, Iran. Basically just love letters to his wife and put it in a book, and I, like, burst out into tears because he just writes beautifully, takes beautiful photos, and just really knows how to paint a picture and tell a story. And that's just, I admire that. That's really tough to do. You can't really teach telling a story, honestly.
Yeah.
You really can't. You can teach the techniques of photography, you can teach the techniques to art, but you can't really, you can't really give someone an eye. You have to have an eye, and he has a great eye.
Yeah. At this point, like, you obviously haven't gotten into the routine of being a full-time freelancer yet, but how are you gonna spend your time in that role versus, like, having a 9-to-5 job too? Like, how do you picture your days being split up, or like...
It's all kind of, it's a little up in the air right now, just because I am still interviewing for, like, some part-time things to fill up some time, but
Definitely.
then the rest is obviously just up to me. But I think the first thing I need to do every morning is what I've been doing is I need to go for a run. It's just, I clear my head every morning. It's not even just for the physical act of working out and getting exercise. It's literally just clears my head. It gets rid of my anxiety for a little while. And then I'm able to go about my day and be productive. And that's just really important to me.
Isn't it exciting to also know that, like, maybe if you're having a slow morning, you could, like, go for a run at lunch?
Yeah. And that's exciting.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I've done, like, a swerve class at 12:30. I've, like, bought my groceries on a Tuesday morning when no one's around. I did my laundry yesterday, Thursday morning, like, no one was there. It's honestly shocking how much less stressful, like, day-to-day tasks become when you actually have time to do them when it's not so chaotic.
Oh yeah, no, that's something I'm definitely looking forward to.
Yeah.
Having that flexibility for sure.
Do you like to work from home, or do you like to work, like, out of your apartment?
I sometimes work from home, but I am most productive at a cafe. I don't know why. I think it's just, like, I need to be around people and feel some type of pressure almost to, like, be doing something. Because at home I could dilly-dally, clean my room.
For sure.
Do other things. And it's just, like, I'm not really held accountable in my apartment, but when I'm at a cafe, I'm like, okay, I bought a coffee. I should make that coffee worth it.
Yeah.
By doing something.
Because paying $5 to rent out, like, an office space for the day, like, have a seat, have an outlet, have a bathroom is, like, pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are a bunch of amazing cafes, as she usually shows me, best cafes. Today was great.
Do you have some favorites, or?
Max Cafe.
Oh, I love Max Cafe. It's just so far from both of us now.
I know.
I discovered Max Cafe when I was at Barnard, and it's on 120... Is that me? Sorry. Yeah, Max Cafe, it's on 122nd in Amsterdam, so if you are in the Upper West Side or Harlem area, that's a great place to plop for, like, the whole day. It also, they start serving wine at 5 o'clock, so, like...
Cafe bar!
Oh, so
my dream.
amazing. And they have really good food and, like, really sweet people who work there. That's, like, such a hidden gem. That's somewhere where I'm, like, willing to be like, okay, how can I get over there to go work today?
Especially during, like, warm months.
Yeah, because it's, like, part outdoors, too. Like, they'll open the doors and stuff, so you could sit outside and work. You and I are gonna have a lot of good outdoor work sessions, I feel like, this summer. Do you have any, like, favorite shooting locations in New York? There are a lot of good ones.
I really like meatpacking.
Yeah.
I like meatpacking in general, just as a cool, hip space, but just for shooting, it's got some unique architecture, just, like, you know, spaces you wouldn't find everywhere, and I like meatpacking. I also like just shooting along the river on, like, West Side Highway.
Yeah.
That's always nice, especially when it's warm.
And you have the High Line, too.
The High Line.
Have we done a shoot on the High Line? I know I've done one with Sarah.
No.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey. I don't think I've met you, but you seem cool.
Oh yeah, you guys should definitely meet. See, like, that's, like, the freelance network. It's just like, oh, you don't know this person? Like, let me introduce you to them. Could you also tell everyone a little bit kind of about your website? Because I feel like being a photographer, having a personal, like, website or portfolio of your work is really important.
Yeah, I was using, like, Wix. I don't WordPress, I think, at one point, and now Austen turned me on to Squarespace.
Love Squarespace.
I love Squarespace. It's just, like, easy to use, good templates, clean. And I think I had one template with Squarespace, and then I completely scrapped that. And now I have one that I actually like, and it is exciting. I just curated a lot of what I had before, made it a lot more user-friendly. That's the operative word, user-friendly.
Yeah, if people can't find, like, your contact information or, like, see an example of your work, then your website is just wrong. I think.
No, it is. It's just like if it's too complicated to get to things and like everything's just all over the place, like no one's gonna give it a second thought.
Yeah, and if I didn't say this already, I'll link Jessie's website and Instagram and anything else she wants me to link down below in the description box, so it'll be super easy for you guys to go check out more examples of her work and find her.
Oh yeah, give me some feedback.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted you to tell everyone about is your mini music murals.
Oh, yes.
Because I think this is really cool, and I don't know...
Should I go get it?
I can put some on the screen, too.
Okay, yeah.
Isn't life so easy? Should I go get it? No, I'll put it on the screen for you, Jessie. Because I don't know anyone who does anything like this, and I just think it's a cool, like, creative project that you do.
Yeah, so, I mean, I love music. I love listening to it. I listen, like, I don't even know, like 6+ hours a day. I'm either running or just at my office or just walking in New York. I can't walk in New York without some type of music in my ears.
What's the guy's name? John Rebellion?
John Bellion.
God, sorry.
It's okay. I'm sure you'd like that too.
John Rebellion.
That's actually like a dope, badass name. Yeah, he's just this cool, crazy, artistic dude. He produces his own beats. He makes masterpieces, just, I think. But anyway, so there was like one day I was just walking on the street and I was like listening to, I forget what song it was, but I started to like, while I was listening to it, see visuals in my head after I was listening to something. It was like rap music. And I was like, all right, well, I'm seeing something, so maybe I'll just draw it. So that's what I started doing.
Isn't that sick?
It's fun. And I love listening to music, love drawing, so it's mostly hip-hop. I love 90s hip-hop. I love just hip-hop in general. J. Cole. Chance the Rapper. Love him. Who else? Logic. I'm trying to think of Mac Miller. I'll listen to a song and then I'll kind of just write down what words are kind of striking to me. Afterwards, I'll be like, okay, what visuals can I derive from these words? And then I'll be like, how do I connect to these words in my own story? How can I insert myself in the narrative, almost connecting to their narrative? And then I make a drawing out of it.
What advice do you have for someone, like the work that you and I both do, we're both so personally attached to it. So like if I apply to a campaign with a brand and I get rejected, it's kind of like they're rejecting me in a sense, like, oh, they didn't want me to do that campaign or me to do this. Like, how do you keep yourself and your work separate from like any potential rejection, or are you able to separate them easily?
You know, it's tough. I am not able to separate them easily. I will give you that. I want to be like, I'm strong and that. But I mean, I have learned to accept rejection better. I think it's just like the more you put yourself out there, the more you get rejected and the more you get accepted. So it's just like, you're not going to get everything you want in life, and that just makes you stronger. And that is like wholeheartedly what I believe. Like, there's always bad with good and good with bad, and you can't get one without the other. They go together.
So I've asked all my questions. I'm sure they were very hard-hitting.
No.
But is there any like final advice you wanted to dish out, or like personal plug of anything you want people to know about you, or anything along those lines?
Sure. I mean, I think you have to just go for if you're looking to do something in the creative field, like go for any opportunity. As like anything that presents itself, like go for it, even if it doesn't pay you something. Like I really stress pro bono work. Pro bono work is great to just like build your portfolio, do something, get experience in some way, and just build yourself from there, and then you'll get the more paying opportunities and things like that, and that'll just like help you so much, like assisting people, doing something, meeting someone new. Like, it doesn't have to be something where you're making money, just something else, and do it on the side. Like,
yeah,
just, you know, you have time. That's the thing. Like, people are like, I don't have time for this, I don't have time for that. Like, let me tell you something. I had 3 jobs at one point, just like going from one to the next to the next.
I like didn't see her for 2 months, can confirm.
Like, I was just like, it was definitely stretching myself thin, but there's always time if you want to do something, if you want to get more experience and just get better as a creative, and there's just always time.
Well, this was absolutely delightful. thank you for being here.
Thanks
and
for having me.
chatting with everyone. As I mentioned earlier, all of Jessie's links and her website, portfolio will all be down below for you to go check out. If you are a New York City-based blogger, which a bunch of you probably are, she could totally take photos for you.
Let's hang.
Be sure to subscribe if you're not already. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any friends who are aspiring photographers, feel free to send this to them. Share it with your friends, family, pets, loved ones, any and all of the above. And thank you all again for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video.
See you guys.
Bye!